Hi everybody, it's Audrey. Thank you for coming to day 8 of the Summer Scrapping Series. Today my guest is Christina, and I believe that we met on a YouTube team maybe a little over a year ago. And she has a great YouTube channel. She does lots of stuff on her channel, so please go check her channel out. I'll put the link below. So for today's page, I absolutely love this collection of like summer phrases from the Just Nick store. I think the cut file is called Summer Loving, and there's just Summer Loving, and there's a whole bunch of different phrases, summer phrases. So good, perfect for titles. And I loved this one that says every summer has a story, and I like how the word summer is a different font. So I traced just the part of the PNG that I needed, which is the part that says every summer has a story, and I deleted all the rest. And I am drawing a square that is the size of my photo, which is about 4 3/4 by 3 3/4 approximately. And I plan my pages a lot. When I'm using cut files, I plan them a lot right in Silhouette Studio like this. And I'm going to leave the title big because I want the title to be big across the center of the page. I only have the one photo, and I'm going to fill this other kind of white space down here with another cluster of embellishments and add my journaling. Because this photo that I'm going to use does tell a little story. And I wanted the title to be, because it is so big, I wanted it to be really colorful. And so I'm going to use this kind of like sky sunset color paper with it's kind of like bluish with like a sunburst in it and kind of the red and orange in the bottom. So I'm going to cut my title from that. While that's cutting, my background paper here, which I think I'm out over getting my gesso or something. I'm not sure where I am right now. There, yes, I am getting my gesso. This is an old Echo Park paper from one of their summer lines. But I like how the background, it has like these little aqua swirls. It kind of reminds me a little bit of some waves. But I'm going to put some gesso over it because I plan on doing a lot of mixed media on this page to kind of make this cut file stand out. My mat is so ready to be tossed. I mean, I don't know if you can tell there, but it's hardly sticky anymore. And there's lots of little pieces of paper all over it, so I really need to get a new mat soon. Okay, so I cut that out. I love how that came out. I'm so glad I used that piece of pattern paper. I had considered maybe cutting it out of white cardstock and then kind of painting it myself with some watercolors or gelatos, but hey, if there's a paper already done for you, then why spend the time doing it? So I'm glad I just cut it out of that. So for my background, what I'm going to try to do is the title kind of starts with like the light blue at the top and then goes to a yellow and then goes down to like the darker coral color. And I'm going to try to make this background kind of opposite of that so that the more coral orangey color is at the top and there's a lot more bluish and green down at the bottom. So I used some teal and some seafoam and a few spritzes of yellow. And I actually go back and I kind of wipe a lot of this off because it's a little too dark for me at first. And then I did dry the teal before I added the orange because I didn't want it to get a little bit, I didn't want it to get too muddy. But when I did that, I also didn't like how it wasn't very balanced. So I decided that I do want to add a little bit of pink. And do I add orange at the bottom? I don't remember if I add any of the orange, but I do bring in a little bit of pink at the bottom to kind of help blend it all. So then I go through with a paper towel and I dab a lot of it off to make it a little bit lighter. And somebody asked in a recent process video why I use gesso, and I use gesso because if I had just done that on pattern paper, it would have soaked right in and I wouldn't be able to wipe it off. And also it just primes your paper and stuff. Okay, so I decided to add a little bit of more interest to the background because I'm not really planning on using that many pattern papers. So I figured I could add a little bit more interest with some modeling paste and a stencil. So this is a stencil. I've never actually used it before. You saw me open it there. It's from Echo Park. And I just took some modeling paste and some blue paint. And I was mad at myself because I added way too much blue and I did not want it that dark. So I scoop out a little bit of white and I'm kind of just scraping the white in with the blue. And I really like how this came out, although I went overboard in that top right corner. Even though I knew it was going to be covered by the photo, a lot of it I just went through and I did scrape a little bit of it off because I thought it was a little too much. It's a little bit more texture here and there, and it kind of looks like waves, so I like that. So really quick, because I had all of this modeling paste, this blue modeling paste left over, I decided, you know what, I'm not going to let that go to waste. So I just grabbed a piece of white cardstock, and just took out another stencil as well, and I am going to use this other stencil and create another background that maybe I could use on a future page for something. I added a little bit of, kind of looks yellow in this video, but it's a little bit of a citron green, and when it mixes with the blue, obviously it makes it a little bit darker green. So I love this stencil too. This is a super cool stencil. I like how the squares are like really tiny over on the left, and then they kind of get bigger as you move over towards the right. So that came out awesome. I love that. I can't wait to use that on a page sometime. So this has dried, and I'm going to go through and add some splatters of teal and sea foam, and I'm going to soak those up a little bit because I want to start working right away. And that's another thing with the gesso. I think it takes a little bit longer for stuff to dry on the gesso when you add mixed media, or when you add like splatters or anything liquidy on top of it. Okay, so I put my title over it, and yeah, I definitely like that. So I'm looking for something to go into the bottom left where my journaling area is going to be, and I pulled out that card. That's from Simple Stories Here We Go collection, and my photo fits up there pretty nicely on the top. And now I'm going to start layering some other papers behind this little journaling area. I cut out that polka dot paper, but the scale of the dots was too big. You can't even see it when I put it behind that journaling spot. I have this old chipboard sheet from My Mind's Eye, and it's a very strange mix of things on this chipboard sheet. But there are like these two nautical things. Well, there was another anchor on it too, and it's an anchor and a little like boat wheel. So I liked those. I liked bringing the navy in. I hadn't planned on pulling the navy in at first, but I like what that does. And then I'm going through this pink paisley die cut pack too, and just kind of sorting through things. So what I do is I sort things by, you know, if I think I might use them on a page, I put them in one little container, and if I know I'm definitely not going to use them, I put them in another little pocket. So the top one is the ones I might use. The second one down is things I'm definitely not going to use. And then I just kind of go through all that, and it kind of narrows down my choices. So I pull out a lot of stuff here because I really like the colors, and I like they match pretty good. I pulled out also a gold foiled tag. It's a transparent tag, which I thought looked neat. So of course I'm going to have to add something gold to the top right as well. And I'm just playing a lot around with layering. I pulled out these other scraps from crepe paper, old crepe paper collection. And these were pieces that I had cut for other projects that I didn't necessarily use, but they were still in the package of stuff that I have. And I just use this pattern paper that's kind of an off-white for the background. And you saw me there, I used yellow circles. I didn't really like those. So I did want to bring in a little bit of yellow just to make it a little bit more summery. So I add a little yellow strip to the left of my journaling block there, and then I needed something yellow in the top right. But instead of using a piece of pattern paper, I pulled out some yellow washi tape. And I liked that color matched pretty good too. And I put another little piece down at the bottom as well. That one scrap of paper I used behind my photo at the top there, it didn't cover the whole photo, so I just added a similarly colored piece of paper to kind of complete the photo mat there. And then I brought in a little bit of that kind of sea foam color because I have it in the background, but I don't really have it in any of the embellishments. And I started off with kind of just this orange and blue and pinkish, stuff in the background with the title, and then I ended up bringing in pretty much every color of the rainbow. I guess a more toned down rainbow, but yeah, so I had the green, the yellow, the orangey coral color, the pink, and the blue. And so I'm just layering clusters on top of the photo and to the bottom left on the journaling card and trying to bring in all the colors. There are some pieces I really wanted to use, like these kind of glitter silver, or not silver, like a teal blue glitter. And these little banners, they were cute. I loved the little anchor on the red banner there, but I just couldn't find a place to put them. And I didn't want to over embellish because Again, I wanted the title and the photo to kind of stand out. So I end up just doing a small cluster in the photo. And here's another example for me. Like, I like the little red tag that says enjoy, but I do not like having too much of my photo covered up. So I take that tag off because it bothers me that it covers up so much of the photo. I want the photo, to stand out. So I try to keep my embellishments that overlap my photo to only one edge of my photo, maybe a corner. But again, I don't like it when it overlaps too much. So I'm pretty happy with this design, and I'm going to go ahead and start combining these layers together. So I stapled those papers together and then roughed up the edges, and I wanted to bring a little dimension, so I am using this craft foam to pop up that journaling area. And then I'm just going to use some more foam dots to kind of add some more dimension here with a couple of the other embellishments. So this is just kind of me gluing stuff down. So I'll quickly tell you about this photo. So my parents have a cottage in the Finger Lakes, and that's where we spend just about every weekend. We spend one weekend there, and the next weekend we'll spend the Thousand Islands. So we're pretty spoiled to be able to have those two places to go to. But anyway, across the lake from my parents' cottage, it's about 2 or 3 miles. We took the little motorboat and the wave runner. And there's a little area called, we call it Eagle Cove because we always see bald eagles when we're over there. So we just started calling it Eagle Cove. And there's a nice little kind of stone beach that the kids like to go explore on. They like to pick up little glass pieces, Most of it's just, broken beer bottles that have been worn down over time. No, I don't usually let my children play with broken glass, but, it's like, I don't want to call it sea glass because it's not an ocean, but I guess it's freshwater glass. But, glass that's been worn down. So we collect that, and they find snail shells and fun stones, and they love to explore like that. So we had a nice little trip, and it was a fun little thing to do with the kids, and they enjoy that kind of stuff. Although Charlotte gets scared of the wave runner sometimes. I'm not sure why. And Kyler would go as fast as he possibly could. My mom drove the wave runner, my dad drove the boat. So it was fun. We had a little fun adventure. Okay, so I've gotten everything glued down and my layers together in my photo, and then I went ahead and glued my title down. Again, I was considering overlapping the title a little bit with my photo, but it fit in perfectly right under the photo and above the journaling block. So I had a hard time gluing the title down because I think I had so much like modeling paste and texture and gesso on the background that the glue wasn't sticking very well. I was kind of hemming and hawing about that one circle on the left there too, in the bottom left, but I'd leave it. It's kind of cute. And I really wanted to put that glitter bow on, but I couldn't find a spot. So I'm going to take it off. And I thought just to add a little bit more pizzazz, I guess, I'm going to add some enamel dots. I like, when I do like pages about water, I like to have something that looks like splatters or water on the page. So I think, mist splatters or enamel dots or some shiny sequins all kind of have that effect. Speaking of sequins, these are a couple packages from Spiegel Mom Scraps, and I love the color, so I put a couple teal ones on there as well. And I think that is about it. I am going to go through and stick down all of these sequins with glue dots. I find that glue dots work best with sequins because they, I don't know, when you use a liquid glue, I think the sequins tend to kind of flick off a little bit if you touch them on the edge. I don't know if that makes any sense, but anyway, so just gluing the rest of these down. Super fast here, but it was really just me putting sequins down. And there is my final page. I love how this came out. I love the background, the title against the background, and all the little embellishments just kind of fit my story perfectly. So thank you so much for joining me for day 8. I hope you enjoyed this page. I really like this one of my favorites so far. And be sure to check out Christina's channel as well, and I will see you tomorrow for day 9. Thank you for stopping by. Stay scrappy, my friends.